There seems to be a large and growing market for anonymity coins or privacy coins. With me in the studio, I've got Ricardo Spagni, and he's the lead contributor to the Monero project. Ricardo, thanks for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit about Monero. Why do we need a coin like Monero?
It's a very good question, Ran. For the most part, a lot of people don't need privacy-focused tools at all, but there are a large portion of the population that do need them, and they're, for example, people who want to pay for something and don't want the person they're paying to see their bank balance or their Bitcoin balance, and they don't want the person who they're paying to be able to see what they've spent money on. So, pro-privacy projects in general are important, not just for people who are trying to evade governments or evade the law, but for a large portion of the population.
And how do you achieve this privacy? I mean, everyone thinks that Bitcoin is quite a private network. We know it's not. How do you guys achieve this privacy?
Sure. So Monero focuses on 4 aspects of privacy. The first thing it focuses on is hiding the ability to see where a transaction is coming from, and we use something called ring signatures for that. The second thing is hiding the ability to see where a transaction is going to, and we use something called stealth addresses. The third thing is hiding the amount that's transacted, and we use something called ring CT, which is based on Greg Maxwell's confidential transactions. And the fourth thing is hiding the IP address that a transaction originates from, and we have a project called Covery for that.
So you really are creating this coin where you can't see anything about the transactions. Is it optional or is it automatic that everything's hidden?
So it's private by default, but you can opt out of it by revealing your view key either to the world or to a select number of people.
What about all the accusations that this is used for the dark web and for people who are buying drugs and for people who want to be anonymous for all the wrong reasons?
When it comes to things like privacy enhancing tools, not your primary users, but your initial users might be people who are using it for nefarious reasons. There's nothing you can do about that. It just so happens that that people who are buying drugs on the dark web are the sort of people that need privacy most of all. But obviously, we're writing software. We don't look at individual use cases. We try and focus on important use cases that we've identified. For example, somebody who lives in an oppressive regime who's trying to buy something that we might find innocuous, but the government that they live under simply doesn't approve of that purchase. And if they go and do that, their life might be at stake.
But essentially what you're saying is that is to bypass governments. I mean, you're using anonymity or privacy to bypass government rules. Even though it's in a country that we don't agree with their laws, we're still bypassing the rules. And that could put regulators onto the blockchain to say, look, let's look at all these currencies on the blockchain and maybe start regulating them. Is that not one of the big risks?
Well, it is. In fact, you're not really trying to bypass governments, you're trying to bypass attackers. And an attacker could be a criminal that's trying to identify somebody who has a lot of cryptocurrency to go and steal from them. And an attacker could, in some circumstances, be a government or even a regulator. And the fact of the matter is that tools exist today that we use on a daily basis that can be used in nefarious ways, like motor vehicles and kitchen knives. But that doesn't mean that we stop making motor vehicles or we stop making kitchen knives. It doesn't mean that regulators say, well, we need to build motor vehicles without seatbelts so that if a terrorist uses it, it's not safe. It just means that you have to, that the regulators have to focus on good old-fashioned police work instead of things like passive surveillance.
Certainly a very big market. You guys have got a massive developer community. Tell us a bit about your contribution community or your developer community.
Sure. So across the Monero projects, we have just over 280 contributors that have worked on Monero over the course of its lifetime, so over the past 3.5 years. Of those 280, about 40 or 50 are active at any point in time. Contributors come and go. Some of them are there for a while and disappear. Some of them have been around for ages. And we encourage contributors. We have a variety of projects that use a number of different programming languages. People can come and work on translations. They can work on the website and on the website content. So because we have this broad, open, welcoming development community, we've attracted a lot of contributors.
How did you get involved in this project? Where did this come from?
Sure. So, well, Monero was launched by a guy called Thankful for Today on Bitcoin Talk. He's pseudonymous. We don't know who he really is. And I was one of the people that started mining Monero on day 0 when he launched it. And eventually became part of a core team of 7 people that took stewardship of the project when Thankful for Today started doing things the community didn't agree with.
So in true blockchain style, you're not the owner of the project, you're just the lead maintainer of the project.
Correct.
Let's talk about mining Monero. Profitable or not profitable?
It depends on a number of factors. Typically with altcoin mining, if you mine by the time the coins are actually available for you to send to an exchange, that altcoin might have changed in terms of market value. So you don't necessarily want to mine and then sell immediately, and you don't want to base your profitability calculations on that either. So Monero can be profitable if you're mining and then at some point, like at the end of the month, you're selling a portion to cover electricity and holding the rest until some future time when you see massive accumulation or massive increase in the price.